What names come to mind when you think of someone who has changed the world? Let's hear some. Anybody have some ideas?
Rosa Parks.
Rosa Parks. Good. What else?
Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln.
Jesus.
Jesus. Mr. Columbus. I'm sorry. Mickey Mouse? Maybe. Maybe. But either way, that list of people who have changed the world is not really that long. It's a short list. And it's usually not a list that we would put ourselves on. But I think we're missing something there. Because changing a world is a little simpler than what it seems. And today, fellow Toastmasters, I'd like to explain to you 3 simple steps of how you can change the world. The first step goes like this. Give up. Just give up. Now, usually that's the last step we use. After we've tried a whole bunch of things, then we just give up. But I'm recommending that you start with that step. And here's what you need to give up. Is you need to give up worrying so much about yourself. If you want to change the world, you can't focus on just what you want all the time and what you think is always best. You have to give that up. If self-esteem and focusing on just us was really that important, we would invite gang leaders to come speak at our public schools because they've got plenty of self-esteem. They've got all self-confidence in the world. But focusing on ourselves is not the key. Think back to high school. You remember learning about Maslow's hierarchy of needs? He said that if we get everything in the right order, if we focus on what we need, first air and water, then safety and belonging, and then relationships, that over time we will become self-actualized. And we will be a full enough person where we can go out and help the rest of the world. But did you know that Maslow himself later in life recanted his entire theory? He watched a generation grow up studying this and realized it didn't work. Because when people focus on just themselves, they don't eventually go out and help the rest of the world. They continue to focus on themselves. If you don't believe me, think of any third world country that we've gone out to help. If you've been to some of these places, you can attest with myself that these people are some of the most generous and giving people in the world. But we see them in need, maybe after a catastrophe or something like that, and us bigger self-actualized nations will go out and give to them and help them. But what happens over time from that is that they become entitled, and they want more, and they want more, and they demand that. And they lose who they really were in the beginning. So we have to give up thinking just about ourselves. Second step to change the world is go home. Give up and go home. Now maybe the last time you heard this advice was at your high school football game. Give up and go home. But it's more than that, because going out to change the world doesn't start in some foreign country. It starts at your home, where you are every single day. And if you go home, you can see who is there. Some family, children, a spouse, neighbors, apartment dwellers. We all have people that live around us. People we see on a regular basis and we spend quite a bit of time with. Well, that's where changing the world starts. Because if we can't help the people who are near us, who we spend the most time with, how are we going to help the people in other countries who we've never even seen and we don't understand and may not even speak their language? It doesn't start there. It starts right here. The third step to changing the world is to give them a break. Once you give up worrying about yourself and you go home to see who else is there, and you know how they think and you know how they work, well, give them a break. Help them do something. Maybe it's the laundry. Maybe it's taking care of their garden. Maybe you have a neighbor that can't go to the grocery store by themselves and need a ride. Maybe taking down the aisles. there are a multitude of things that we can do to just give someone a break. And that's where it starts. Now let me pull all this together for you all. An example of someone who has really changed the world. This man grew up in the middle of the United States of America. And he actually learned at a young age that life isn't just about him. His mom helped him realize that quite a few times. But as time grew up, he became a doctor and started giving his life to other people, those around him. But it wasn't just at work, it was at home. He would spend a lot of times working and giving people a break on the job, helping people with their physical ailments. But he did the same at home. He would go home and he'd spend time with his kids. He'd go to their recitals, go to their soccer games. Sometimes he's so busy, he'd have to leave that. He'd take them on a trip for a week or a long weekend just to spend time with them. And he loved his wife. He really invested in that relationship. And his kids saw that. And they had a home where they could grow up happily. They could learn a lot. And he even took his kids out somewhere else to another country in Africa. And he worked in a hospital. They got out there and helped cleaning and counting pills in the pharmacy and building things for the kids in the area. He lived a life not focused on himself, realizing who are the people who he was around that he could invest in, and giving people a break wherever he went, whether it's his family, the community he lived in, or in a country far beyond. Now, you all may not recognize this story of this person who's changed the world, and you may not think he fits on our list of world changers, but you're not his son. You see, my father changed my world. He did it one day at a time. Those were my soccer games he went to, and my recitals, and the trips that he took me on to spend time with me. And he loved my mom and showed me what a real marriage looks like. And he took me to that country to help other people because it's not about me. And so now I have an example of what giving up, worrying about myself, what it means to go home and see who are the people around me that I can help, and give them a break wherever I tend to be. So